Welcome to the Oracle Autonomous Database and Oracle Database 19C channel on Oracle PartnerCast. This is the Oracle Partner Spotlight series where Oracle partners have the opportunity to feature their Oracle solutions running the Autonomous Database or the latest release of Oracle Database 19C. My name is Kirk Gustafson, and I am a Director of Product Management in Oracle's Database Development Organization. Today in the Spotlight, we have Flexagon. Flexagon is an Oracle ISV partner who has worked closely with our product management team to validate and optimize the use of the Oracle Autonomous Database. Okay, let's jump in and learn more about Flexagon and the integrated solution they created. I would like to now introduce Dan Gert, President and Founder of Flexagon.
Hi, Kirk. Thanks for all the support over the past few months. I'm really excited about having integrated our FlexDeploy product with the Oracle Autonomous Database.
Yeah, that's thank you, Dan. We've enjoyed working with you, and we're excited to see you go to market with your new product offering. So with that said, again, let's jump in and learn more about Flexagon and your new integrated FlexDeploy product with the Oracle Autonomous Database. So Dan, Flexagon's an ISV partner. Briefly tell us what your software does and how it ties into the Oracle ecosystem.
Flexagon provides a DevOps platform for continuous delivery and release automation that includes support for many Oracle technologies, Oracle Database being one of them. Our software product called FlexDeploy helps customers deliver software solutions faster and with higher quality, basically being more effective and secure by automating and streamlining the software development, deployment, and release processes. FlexDeploy is an enterprise solution which supports commercial and open source technologies with about 100 out-of-the-box plugins and integrations which eliminate the manual activities and scripting across the entire plan through operate lifecycle.
Okay, so Flexagon helps Oracle customers improve their processes for developing and delivering solutions for both traditional and cloud services. How does the Autonomous Database fit with your product, FlexDeploy?
Yeah, well, as an ISV, Flexagon wears two hats when integrating with the Autonomous Database. One where FlexDeploy requires a database to store configuration and execution information. The second is where Flexagon's customers use FlexDeploy as a platform for automating their deployment and release processes from anywhere from infrastructure to database, middleware, and to applications. Let's talk about the first hat where FlexDeploy needs a database to store that data. FlexDeploy stores information such as configurations, runtime, and execution details related to lifecycle of migrating changes and managing changes across environments. You can imagine that FlexDeploy communicates with a lot of tools and technologies in the cloud and on-prem, and that FlexDeploy stores large amounts of execution data. The execution data, it's used to troubleshoot and gain insight to everything going on within FlexDeploy to manage the deployments across environments. Historically, Flexagon customers would use an Oracle database, and now we provide an option to use the Oracle Autonomous Database. The Autonomous Database extends that value because it just works. And it performs, it scales, and there's no need to spend time administrating the database. So this hands-off approach makes sure that the IT teams spend as much time as possible at a higher level where the business value is actually created.
Yeah, Dan, that sounds a lot like the value proposition we have for cloud IaaS, PaaS, SaaS in general, and specifically, it correlates to the value proposition of the Oracle Autonomous Database, which is to eliminate as much of the work as possible for the customer so they can spend their time on gaining better insights into their customers and their business.
Yeah, absolutely. The value propositions are very well aligned.
Yep, I agree. So, Dan, I want to go back to something you said earlier when describing FlexDeploy. You mentioned something about customers being more effective and secure. Would you mind saying a little more about the security aspects of FlexDeploy and how that relates to the Autonomous Database?
Yeah, good point. Security is a high priority in the DevOps space, and why sometimes you hear of DevSecOps. When it comes to the data store underlying FlexDeploy, it's important that the data be secured since some of the data is sensitive. such as user IDs and passwords, contact information, or other configuration and execution data that we don't want compromised in any way. And so the Oracle Autonomous Database does an excellent job with security. And another reason why it's a great choice as the data store for FlexDeploy.
Mm-hmm. It's great. Dan, you mentioned a second hat where FlexDeploy helps their customers who use the Oracle database and database-related tools as part of their end solution. Can you expand a little bit on how the autonomous database comes into play during those scenarios?
Yeah, sure. The second hat's really important, and that's where customers and partners use FlexDeploy for automating and integrating their CI/CD and release management processes. So in a nutshell, FlexDeploy builds and packages up a wide variety of artifacts, such as code, configurations, infrastructure definitions, and database schema changes. Then it automates the deployment of those artifacts across a release pipeline. For example, dev, test, production. FlexDeploy supports Oracle Database, including the Autonomous Database via plugins for managing the Oracle Database schemas, products such as Oracle Apex, and other tools such as REST data services, also known as ORDs. So rather than users having to perform manual tasks or write scripts, FlexDeploy takes care of the heavy lifting via the plugins and integrations. For example, there might be a mobile or a web application developed using Apex that might also use Oracle REST data services and require some schema changes or supporting those schema changes to the Oracle database. The Autonomous Database is a perfect fit since it provides the heavily automated and self-running database environment. And FlexDeploy provides the DevOps or DevSecOps tooling to support the end-to-end CI/CD processes for the Apex application and friends, if you will.
Okay, that's great. Well, and it makes a lot of sense. Let's pivot now and talk about your experience during the Autonomous Database integration and validation process. What was that like, and did you experience any major issues or challenges?
Well, I have to say, Kirk, that it was surprisingly easy. Both for running FlexDeploy on top of the Autonomous Database and for the plugins working with Apex, ORDs, and the Oracle database. So no changes in our software were required. Bottom line is that we were really happy that it was a painless effort.
That's fantastic, and we always love to hear that feedback. Now, let's talk about use cases where FlexDeploy with the Autonomous Database brings increased value to Oracle and Flexagon customers. Do you mind sharing some of your use cases?
Yeah, absolutely. One example is where eBusiness Suite is running on Oracle Cloud infrastructure. So many of our customers want to extend their investment in eBusiness Suite while taking advantage of the move to the cloud. If you're familiar with eBusiness Suite, the Oracle database is a critical component. FlexDeploy provides really exceptional support for migrating what are called eBusiness Suite customizations, or CHEMLIs, across environments. So we see many customers moving their eBusiness Suite to the cloud, and in general, shifting from left to right on this slide here. More agility, more automation, adoption of cloud, adoption of microservices, containers. And I see the Autonomous Database is a really good example of how customers can realize the benefit of the cloud by running eBusiness Suite on the Oracle Cloud infrastructure and eliminating the need to manage eBusiness Suite infrastructure, which supports the eBiz database, the application, and the web tier of the in their data center. So the Autonomous Database takes that a step further and eliminates that administration of the database. And FlexDeploy provides that DevOps platform to establish that full CI/CD and release orchestration for eBiz, for middleware, and then the eBusiness Suite related database changes.
Okay. Yeah, those are some good use cases. The combination of FlexDeploy and the Oracle Autonomous Database, sounds like it addresses a real market need in those situations. Do you have any more examples that you would like to share?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of good examples here. Another one is a custom application. So if we're building custom applications to extend SaaS, so basically heavily leveraging SaaS, but at times need to differentiate and customize, and then the customer chooses to do that by creating an extension that might run on the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and possibly leverage other Oracle PaaS services like the Oracle Integration Cloud. Some of these custom apps are key differentiators, and the database is a core part of that solution. So the applications might be built using open source JavaScript, such as Jet, maybe Angular, or possibly Node. And the customers can use the autonomous database as part of that solution, like the other use cases, FlexDeploy playing the automation engine for the CI/CD and release orchestration.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense as well. So let's just recap quickly. We've learned who Flexagon is. You've shared the value proposition of integrating the Oracle Autonomous Database with your product FlexDeploy. You've shared a description of your solution and some really interesting use cases. Dan, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, for sure. I've got a demonstration here, and so maybe we can cover that demonstration and bring things to life. So the summary of the demo is that we're going to be running FlexDeploy on the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. We've got FlexDeploy using the autonomous database as the data store. And then we're going to do full CI/CD and release orchestration using two use cases. One, as we talked about a little bit earlier, the Oracle e-Business Suite. So Oracle e-Business Suite running on the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and tying into an autonomous database. And then similarly, using Apex. So we talk about Apex as a high productivity, low code environment for building applications that leverages and it runs in the database. And so we're going to show a demonstration of some of that in action as well.
Okay, that's great. I'll just let you take it from here, and I'll enjoy seeing the demo.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. So one last slide before we go to demo. This really just emphasizes the broad support that Flexagon with FlexDeploy have for Oracle. And so we'll talk about a few of these things. Of course, the Oracle Autonomous Database is critical for many of these, but it's quite extensive across not only database and other tools, but middleware, apps, and the cloud. So with that said, let's fire up FlexDeploy itself, and we'll get in there right now and look at FlexDeploy. And first one we're going to look at is the support for e-Business Suite. We can jump right into and look at one of the key underlying constructs for basically automating the entire process of moving these customizations for e-Business Suite across the different environments. And what we're going to bring up here is what are called workflows. So they're reusable entities that allow us to build and deploy e-Business Suite customizations. So for example, with the SQL that's going to be running in an Oracle database. And so right here, I'm just showing one example of a deploy operation that automates the entire life cycle of building and deploying. So this is specific to deploy. And if we bring up e-Business Suite, we can see that on this workflow are plugin operations, where the operations are removing the manual intervention and any scripting that might have had to be done. So we're eliminating the work to make things faster, more streamlined, more trackable and traceable, that sort of thing. And so in this particular case, it incorporates some database-related changes. And as an example, so an automated workflow that does the heavy lifting. While we're in this little section here, let's just go ahead and take a look at a couple other workflows, maybe the application express. So if we say Oracle, and we go down and scroll down a little bit, we will get to what's called the Apex, and that's another plugin that comes out of the box, and we're going to be highlighting that at runtime. And then maybe the Oracle database plugin. And so you can see that it works with automating some of those key database-related schema changes all automatically, and makes that a much more efficient process, leveraging the autonomous database to be able to simplify things and basically further automate the end-to-end life cycle for development and administration. So with that said, we'll go to this project where we have the XXHR. This is called a project in Flex Deploy. It really ties to a specific technology. So in this particular case, it's tying to eBusiness Suite, and is going to leverage those workflows that we showed a bit ago. And then we can simply go ahead and pick and choose or fully automate the process of grabbing onto some of the customizations. These Java are an example of a type of customization that are available within eBusiness Suite. We could go down to the SQL, so some database specific changes. Maybe we needed all of them. And we're going to package those up along with those changes, and possibly some AOLs or maybe some reports. And so we could just take one more change, select that, and automatically build and package this up by pulling those changes from the source control system, like Git or Subversion, and away we go. So if we go up to the dashboard, you will see that we have that execution of the workflow taking place. It's packaging up the different customizations for eBusiness Suite that we selected, and then we could subsequently go and deploy that now that the build is saved away, those artifacts are saved away, and we can deploy them into any environment. So for example, a development environment, and we can submit that request, and then automatically, if I force that, since we haven't made any changes, but we can force that, and it will go ahead and deploy automatically those changes into their respective runtimes. So for example, the SQL changes being applied in the Oracle Autonomous Database, right? So all of that automation being taken out of the hands of the developers and of the administrators. I'm tying on top of the capability that we're getting out of the Autonomous Database because of the heavy automation that's just, or an administration that's just taken care of there for you. So with that said, a real quick look at what's called pipelines. If we go to release pipelines, it's another example of how we can automate the process so you can govern and control changes as we flow, in this case, eBusiness Suite related customizations across a series of stages: development, QA, production. Basically governing and controlling the process for managing changes of any type as you move them across an environment. So in this particular case, we see that the last snapshot that was created is now deployed successfully into development. It is waiting on an approval in the QA environment. Okay, so then after these gates are satisfied, it would execute the deployment of all the changes: Java, SQL, PL SQL, forms, reports, and the like. So how do we govern? How do we control? How do we automate and streamline that end-to-end process? And that's what we're showing right here. Okay, if we go back and take one other look at the other example, the other use case for some of the database technology, specifically related to the Apex. We'll scroll down here and see that we have a few projects, again, tying specifically to the technology they're associated with. Apex here, we have ORDs, we have other things related to that, as well as the database schema changes. And if we go to the bug tracking project, we'll see that that was configured to use the Apex related workflows, so similar to what we looked at a little earlier. And then we can build and deploy these changes and automate that entire process from end to end. And so if we kick off the build of all files, we could submit that, and similar to what I showed before, we've already grabbed onto that, so there's no new build required. So I'll override that, and we're able to automate that that process. So now if we go up to the release and we take a look at our Apex and Friends release, we can take a look and see that there are not only Apex related changes, but ORDs and other database schema changes, so that we can go ahead and create a snapshot of all of that if we would like. I won't do that in this case, just in lieu of time, but it will create a snapshot of the entire set of projects and then flow it across the pipeline that is associated with this release. So again, the key is how do we manage the different the artifacts and flow those across our environments, we call them stages, to streamline, automate, and make all of this process very visible, very repeatable, and very high quality. Now, very importantly, similar to what we talked about earlier, the autonomous database is storing a tremendous amount of information. This is a demo environment, but in our customer implementations, there's huge volumes. And so the autonomous database does a great job of storing that data, securing it, and supporting the end-to-end automation set of processes that we have within FlexDeploy. Okay, so with that said, we'll call that a wrap in terms of a short demo. Hopefully that brings to life some of the platform capabilities of FlexDeploy, working with Oracle Database, working with applications like eBusiness Suite, database technologies like Apex and ORDS, and really bringing this all together so you have a comprehensive and integrated CI/CD process and release orchestration platform in general.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. That was a fantastic demo, and it's great to see the level of how streamlined and the automation that you have developed across the stages and how it works with the Oracle Autonomous Database. So with that said, it's time to wrap up. Thank you again, Dan, for being a great Oracle partner, and we wish you all the best in going to market with this joint solution with the Oracle Autonomous Database and FlexDeploy.
Well, thanks, Kirk. It was my pleasure to be here today. I appreciate all the support your team has provided.
This concludes our In the Spotlight episode on Oracle PartnerCast today. If you have an integrated solution running on the Oracle Autonomous Database or Oracle Database 19c, let me know and you may get to be in the spotlight. Stay tuned for more Partner Spotlight series. Goodbye.